Okay, Tim's up next. He says, and yes, I'm the real Vasquez. So Hernan, he's saying that he's the real Vasquez.
Oh man, good day too. Hernan's not here to refute
defend himself.
Yeah.
Is it okay to have 2 or more IFTTT accounts directing traffic to a website? Thanks as always. Yeah, Tim, absolutely. You can have as many as you want. You just got to consider the consequences of what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely fine to do that. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Like for Money Site, I recommend always to just stick with, for a tier 1 network, a branded tier 1 network only. If you're doing blog syndication. If you're doing YouTube syndication, you can stack as many networks as you want. It makes no difference. With YouTube as the trigger, it makes no difference. But with Money Sites, I recommend only doing a tier 1 branded network, only because that makes sense. That's normal for people to share, for a business to share its content to its own network of Web 2.0 and social media accounts, right? That's normal. That's logical. It's expected. But when you start sharing the same content to, like, persona accounts, for example, and the persona accounts, the only thing that they have on them is content coming from one source, then that is clearly used for SEO manipulation. And there's no way. I mean, it's like you can smell that from a mile away. You know what I mean? And so my point is, you don't want to do that because that's a footprint issue. So it just depends on what you're doing. There are instances where that makes absolute sense. Somebody was asking a few weeks ago on a Hump Day Hangout about having a multiple author blog and wanting to set up a separate syndication network for each author. And was that okay? And yes, that's perfectly fine. But what I would, because you have a branded network around the main blog, right? Then you have, if you have, let's say, 4 authors, would you want 4 separate persona-based, or maybe they're real authors, they're still personas, right? So persona-based network rings with the same content. Yeah, that makes sense to do so, because an author will share their own content no matter where it's published to. They'll share it to their own social media accounts most of the time for traffic generation and to show off their work and that kind of stuff. So that's logical as well. But they probably wouldn't be posting across their own personal social accounts all of the content from that site if there's other authors too, right? They'd just be posting their own content. So in that particular case, using the author feed, which you can get from WordPress, using the author feed to trigger those persona-based networks is the way to go. That way, the persona-based networks are being triggered by the author's content only. The branded network gets triggered by all content published on the site, but the persona or the author-based networks would only get triggered by the author content alone. Does that make sense? So again, just got to consider what you're doing and think about it. Does it seem logical? Does it seem natural? Or does it seem spammy? If it seems spammy, don't do it. If it seems logical, or you can make it to where it's logical, and don't justify it, make it, it's got to be like, in my opinion, it would be like, if somebody were to review this, would they come to the conclusion immediately that you're spamming, or would they have to do some more investigation to determine that?